बड़े बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on The Debate. Arnab Goswami on The Debate.
On the show tonight, we put China in its place when they don't want to mention Pahalgam in the SCO joint meeting of the defense ministers. We don't let them get away. We just torpedo. India just torpedoes the SCO meeting. At 8:30 p.m. tonight, America imposes a rule where no visa should be granted without any social media scrutiny. And tonight, why I think India should do the same thing for others as well. At 9 o'clock tonight, Bollywood is back to its Pakistani obsession. Diljit Dosanjh faces a complete boycott, and some sections of woke Bollywood want to find a way to work with the Pakistanis again. And first tonight, ladies and gentlemen, there was an SCO meeting, Shanghai Cooperation Organization meeting, which is held in Qingdao in China. The Chinese thought they were too smart. They thought they could get together with the Pakistanis and issue a statement about Baluchistan, indirectly trying to blame India for what's going on in Baluchistan. What do we have to do with what's going on in Baluchistan? What do we have to do with the torture the people of Baluchistan are being made to go through? Their freedom movement. Ladies and gentlemen, the Baluchis are speaking up for themselves. But these cunning Chinese wanted to give an impression as if India is provoking the situation in Baluchistan. And while doing so, they also absolutely refused to make a single mention of Pahalgam. Now, what is this, ladies and gentlemen? The Chinese are such hypocrites. They speak about terrorism, but they will not speak about the terrorism coming from Pakistan, their all-weather friend. And you know what we did, therefore? Our Defense Minister Rajnath Singh went and torpedoed the whole event. He said, I'm not going to sign any joint statement that does not mention Pahalgam. I am just not going to sign it. And for that, we are so proud of our Defense Minister Rajnath Singh for the nationalist position that he took. He just refused to sign the SCO statement. He said, we are not satisfied with the language of the statement. We are not going to agree with this. And ladies and gentlemen, now let me tell you the inside story. The fact of the matter is we wanted our concerns on terrorism to be reflected in that statement. But as Randhir Jaiswal, the spokesperson of the Ministry of External Affairs, said, one particular country would not accept it. Which particular country might have opposed the mention of terrorist incidents in India, of our terror concerns? Is it Pakistan or is it China? China has reportedly blocked India's proposal at the UN Security Council to designate the Lashkar-e-Toiba and the Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists as global terrorists. So China has a problem with us, it competes with us, it realizes our economy, our growth rates, our purchasing power parity are all going to move ahead of them. So they want terrorism in India to continue. What did we want? We wanted sanctions on this so-called group called the Lashkar-e-Toiba, which tries to use the alliance of the resistance front, which carried out the 2025 Pahalgam attack on the bidding of Pakistan. And China said, no, we don't care, we are not going to include Pahalgam into the joint statement. And here you see at that point of time, Rajnath Singh says that if that is the case, then I'm not going to sign the joint statement at all. Ladies and gentlemen, the same Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which on June 15th immediately sprung into action to condemn Israel's military strikes on Iran, unilaterally put out a statement, does not have similar concerns when our sovereignty is attacked, when our people are attacked, when Indians are killed, when we become victims of terrorism. And therefore, we are forced to put China in its place. I will have a Chinese guest tonight. And the first thing I'll tell the Chinese guest, Victor Gao, who's joining tonight, is this, that China needs to understand we have so much power, so much strength, and so much clout, we can neutralize this kind of a Chinese response very easily, easier than they think. So, ladies and gentlemen, tonight a big shout out for our Defense Minister Rajnath Singh, who's done the right thing, the best thing by putting China in its place. It's a big move by the Defense Minister and by the Government of India. Let's debate.
Defense Minister Rajnath Singh in Qingdao, China for the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Defense Ministers Summit. The Raksha Mantri's first official foreign visit at a multilateral forum after India's Operation Sindoor.
We reiterate the need to hold the perpetrators, organizers, financiers and sponsors of reprehensible acts of terrorism.
India's position at the SCO was clear that the SCO must condemn the evil of terrorism unequivocally.
Any acts of terrorism are criminal and unjustifiable regardless of their motivation, whenever, wherever and by whomsoever committed. SCO members must condemn this evil unequivocally.
But this morning, India took a tough stand. We refused to sign the SCO declaration, a major setback for the host China. The reason for the fallout? The SCO's pro-terror language in the document, with no mention of cross-border terrorism or condemnation of the dastardly terrorist attack in Pahalgam.
We had Raksha Mantri, our defense minister, participating in the defense ministers meeting of SCO. This meeting happened over 2 days, that is yesterday and today. The defense ministers meeting has concluded. I understand that they could not adopt a joint statement. I also understand that certain member countries could not reach consensus on certain issues, and hence the document could not be finalized. On our side, India wanted concerns on terrorism reflected in the document, which was not acceptable to one particular country.
India held constructive dialogue with other SCO members. Its flat-out refusal to join a unanimous joint declaration shows how Chinese agenda setting can no longer unilaterally dictate the SCO narrative. This is the second time this month that India has flatly refused to join an SCO joint statement. Earlier, on the 14th of June, the SCO put out a statement condemning Israel's strikes on Iran, calling them a gross violation of international law. India back then too had opted out of the SCO declaration, articulating its independent position of pursuing dialogue and diplomacy for de-escalation.
Some countries use cross-border terrorism as an instrument of policy and provide shelter to terrorists. There should be no place for such double standards. SCO should not hesitate to criticize such nations.
India skipping the declaration is also a setback in the bilateral ties. This despite India's repeated insistence of basing the India-China relationship on mutual trust and respect.
5 साल के बाद हमारी ये फॉर्मल मीटिंग हो रही है। सीमा पर शांति और स्थिरता बनाए रखना हमारी प्राथमिकता रहनी चाहिए। म्यूचुअल ट्रस्ट, म्यूचुअल रिस्पेक्ट और म्यूचुअल सेंसिटिविटी हमारे संबंधों का आधार बने रहना चाहिए।
As India's strong stand ended up exposing China's pro-terror stand and its hypocrisy on the global stage.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tara Karta, who's former director of the National Security Council Secretariat, great voice on strategy, with us tonight. And we have the great G.D. Bakshi, the one and only G.D. Bakshi, India's most famous voice on strategic affairs. And we have Victor Gao, who's our pro-China voice, and he's vice president of the Center for China and Globalization, joining us from Singapore this evening. Mr. Gao, we want to have good relations with China, but you spoil it all the time. You spoil it all the time. You know, I feel so bad, General Bakshi, that we tell the Chinese we work together with you. We are a big country. We are going to go ahead of you economically. We are growing fast. We're the most populous country in the world. We have a purchasing power parity of $17 trillion. $17 trillion purchasing power parity. But you want to just help Pakistan. Is that the identity China wants to have in the world? That it's in the Pakistan lobby? The SCO defense ministers meeting in Qingdao, in my view, was a great opportunity to condemn Pakistan for carrying out a terrorist attack on Indian soil and to stand in solidarity with all countries that are victims of terrorism. You can't have a one-sided and biased approach on this, you see, and you can't link one thing with the other. I think what China underestimated was India's ability to make sure there is no joint statement. We saw that, General Bakshi. There's no joint statement eventually. Big opportunity lost. The whole Qingdao meeting has ended without a joint statement. So, Mr. Gao, all of this could have been avoided if we worked together. If we worked together, things could be better.
Thank you, Anna, for having me. Let me make several points. First of all, don't get me wrong. I'm a fierce promoter and advocate for China-Indian friendship. Having said that, China and Pakistan are ironclad friends, so we stand shoulder to shoulder on many other things. The third point, for the terrorist attack happening in Kashmir, you should not jump the gun to say that Pakistan is the organizer or the orchestrator of that terrorist attack. By saying that, you are jumping the gun. You should do all the investigation, come up with all the evidence, and then we go through the due process to really get the real criminal and the culprits to justice. Now, it is very encouraging that the Indian defense minister made it the way to Qingdao and attended the SCO defense ministers meeting. Now, on the other hand, it is a great pity that the SCO joint communique was blocked by one single country.
It was not blocked.
Now, this is...
It was not blocked. Everybody was with India on this. No country there, nobody was comfortable. See, you must understand that on terrorism, all countries are with India. You should also join us. All the countries there, victims of terrorism in their own way at the SCO. You know, they are with us. That's why it didn't go through.
I'm not advocating anyone jumping the gun to say that certain country is the organizer of a terrorist attack. When you are faced with a terrorist attack, deal with the terrorist attack rather than jumping the gun to accuse another country.
Then in that case, no. But then we must have, one second, then we must have similar standards. Let me push this to Tara and then to General Bakshi. Dr. Tara Karta, in that case, why should we jump the gun on Baluchistan? Because China wanted a mention of Baluchistan. Baluchistan, the free people of Baluchistan, 2,700 people killed, murdered, raped, custodial killings, the kind of terrorism inflicted by the Pakistani army. And this is not something that China wants to talk about. China wants to blame India for what's happening in Baluchistan without having a shred of proof. In that context, Dr. Karta, Victor Gao wants to jump the gun. When it comes to India, he wants to jump the gun, it seems. Dr. Karta.
I think it's very strange because one of the few things which unites SCO, which is a disparate set of countries, which the rationale for which I'm still able to not really understood what brings these countries together. But the one thing that brings them together is terrorism. I mean, each of your exercises in Russia, for example, the last one which you had, is all on counterterrorism. Uzbekistan suffers from, half of Central Asia suffers from terrorism. So what is the problem I fail to get the thing, get the rationale for not supporting India's stand. Terrorism is unacceptable. And if you take what is the proof, I mean, who do you think would do? I mean, this is, at some point, this is a little, I'm sorry for laughing, but who do you think would do terrorism in Kashmir? Do you think it would be some country from outside the Indian Ocean? So at least some kind of, change the lines involved, something at least in saying that, look, this is unacceptable. SCO countries must stand together, and that is good for China. And on the Baluchistan issue, there is a clear violation of all possible rights for Baluchistan. That is not something that anyone can question. It is absolutely on the ground. There have been, some of these people who have been jailed in Balochistan, the Baloch rights activists, have been nominated for peace prizes, worldwide Nobels, etc. So surely it is again in China's interest to say that, look, bring some peace to Balochistan. I mean, you've got a CPEC going on there. Surely it is in your interest to bring peace to Balochistan and say, get their interests on board.
You see, it's very sad. It's very sad. Victor Kao completely understands the point out here. General Bakshi, I keep telling the Chinese, I keep telling Victor that, see, we are big countries. We're big countries. It's mutually beneficial for big countries to work together. But General Bakshi, the Chinese, they just mess it up every time. Rajnath Singh went and said in the SCO meeting that you must talk about the terrorist attack in Pahalgam. The Chinese went to the Pakistanis and said, do we have permission? Do we have your permission to talk about the terrorist attack in Pahalgam? The Pakistanis said, obviously not, because we have carried out the terrorist attack. And the Chinese then went and came and told us we would have liked to mention it, but Pakistan has not given us permission. The sad part in all of this is, General Bakshi, I think China is demeaning itself by being so much part of the Pakistan lobby.
Arnab, the greatest stumbling block in relations between India and China is Pakistan. Way back in 1990, the Chinese had given the design for the bomb to Pakistan.
Yeah.
They had provided enriched uranium for the first 4 or 5 bombs to Pakistan. The first test of the Pakistani bomb was carried out at Loch Non.
Correct.
Right? And thereafter, Arnab, 70% of Pakistan's tanks, artillery, jet fighters, submarines, Pakistan's frigates, missile frigates are all from China. Its jet fighters are all from China, and China now wants to give them the 5th generation fighter, the first 5th generation fighter in South Asia. They are planning to give it to them at 50% concession. Now, Pakistan is a country that has attacked India militarily 5 times. For 40 years, it has been waging asymmetric conflict. If you support Pakistan, you can't do a more hostile act against India. And just think of it, Kao. I ask you to reflect. What has Pakistan to offer to China? Compare it with India. 4th largest economy, heading to be the 3rd. We have so much in common. We are ancient civilizations that go back thousands of years. We predate the European civilization by millenniums. We have had always excellent relations in the past, right? So I don't see why, for the sake of a state that is on the brink of economic collapse, that is facing a civil war, that is riven by factions, why are you risking India-China relations for the sake of posing up with a hostile Pakistan, whose sole raison d'etre of existence is anti-India? They want to get the Americans on board to fight India. When the Americans dump them, they want to go to China to fight with India. You give them the equipment. Then you say, why are relations being spoiled between India and China?
No, and they also see the Chinese concern. To be fair to the Chinese, General Bakshi, The Chinese concern is, and I think Victor will accept it, that they have invested a lot of money in this Belt and Road Initiative and things like that, CPEC and all that. And they put the money, and if Baluchistan goes up in flames, which, by the way, Victor, it is already in flames and it will, then all their strategic interests are lost. I want to tell you, Victor, with absolute sincerity and complete confidence, that Baluchistan is going to break away. And for that, the suffering of the Baluchi people, the fact that thousands of Baluchi women have been raped and killed, the custodial killings are happening and people are protesting the custodial killing of a 24-year-old Baloch Mullah Bakhsh, forcible disappearances, 2,700 civilians suddenly disappear without a trace. People shot point blank. You know, across Baluchistan, this is a freedom movement. It's not a freedom movement you can control unless you put your ground forces there. And you would be foolish to put your ground forces in Baluchistan. Ordinary people have unfortunately become suicide bombers out of frustration. Highways are closed. Baluchistan can never normalize, Victor, unless the Pakistani army moves out. We know the place well. We know the free people of Baluchistan. Now, you can't blame India for that. No, you see, listen. The only way for you to defend your economic interests in the Baluch area is to stand with the people of Baluchistan. You can't stand with the people of Pakistan or the Pakistani army and expect to have peace in Baluchistan. It does not work that way.
Let me make a point.
The British had to leave China. The British had to leave India because they're colonizers.
Let me make a point.
The British left us. The Pakistani army are colonizers of Baluchistan. You can't blame us for it. We have nothing to do with it.
Yeah. Are you finished? Yeah. Now, okay. Listen to me. First of all, I met with the governor of Baluchistan in Islamabad in November 2024. We had a good chat.
He doesn't represent anyone. He's a puppet. No one. He doesn't represent anyone. He's not a governor. He can't go to Baluchistan. He lives in Islamabad. You tell me, Victor, he does not live in his Baluchistan.
Pakistan. Second point.
He doesn't live in Baluchistan. He lives in Islamabad.
Don't interrupt me, Arnab. Second point. Don't underestimate the strength and the resilience of Pakistan's sovereignty and integrity, territorial integrity. If India wants to undermine the territorial integrity of Pakistan, India will fail.
No, who is undermining? Pakistan is undermining the territorial integrity of Baluchistan. It's not between us, it's between Baluchistan, the free people of Baluchistan and Pakistan. Why are you getting into it?
Come here to quarrel with me. You are not listening. Where is your ear? Where are your ears? So, India will serve its own best interest by respecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of
the Baluch
Pakistan.
people. I agree. We will respect the sovereignty and integrity of the free people of Baluchistan.
So-called independence of Baluchistan, you will never get away with that.
It is not our thing. They are going to be independent. How many people said, Victor, listen, how many people said the Chinese will never be free? How many people said, how many people said Hong Kong will remain with UK?
I said that. You will never live to see the independence of Baluchistan.
You're not understanding the issue. General Bakshi, please explain to him. Tara, explain to him. It is not our problem. It is not our problem. Baluch are very free, independent people.
You will never see the independence of Baluchistan.
Why are you taking sides? Why are you taking sides?
I'm not taking sides. I just respect and protect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of any country in the world.
General Bakshi, please advise him. I'm telling you, you're going to get into a big mess. Big mess.
Gao, the Chinese are great believers in the forces of history. Right? In 1917, we saw the correlation of the forces of history, gravitate towards the freedom of East Pakistan. Please don't forget, Pakistan has already broken once into two countries because it sought to use Islamic jihadi ideology as a glue to hold together very separate ethnicities, right? And these ethnicities in Bengal broke away in 1971, despite the Americans sending the 7th Fleet. In 1947 itself, the Khan of Kalat, Victor, was the first one to declare independence. He had direct treaty relationship with the British. Pakistan had no locus standi there. Muhammad Ali Jinnah was the lawyer for the Khan of Kalat when he declared independence. And the moment Muhammad Ali Jinnah became the Qaid-e-Azam in Pakistan, he marched in the Pakistan army. It is on a military conquest that Baluchistan was taken by force. How long can you keep a people suppressed by force? Could the Japanese suppress the people of China? Could they hold them
I'm so
down?
happy you mentioned history. Both of us need to study history more. But allow me to mention, if you follow your logic, then someone may tell you that India, by your logic, may eventually break up into 7 countries. Do you want to see that happen?
I
No,
see.
you
The
do
thing
not
is,
want to
it
see
may
that
be your
happen.
wish, I'll tell you. It may be your wish, but I'll tell you one. I'll tell you one thing. See, please understand. Please understand. Please, I request you to understand not to meddle into the internal affairs of Baluchistan. You have no right to interfere in the internal affairs of Baluchistan. They're a free people. And by the way, why do you want to? You have invested money with Pakistan, but why make it part of the SCO agenda? Why bring in your economic interests into the SCO agenda? There's a multilateral forum. We have Russia, Kazakhstan, Belarus, other countries. That's your problem. Your problems are not the world's problems, or SCO problems.
The raison d'etre of SCO is to fight against the terrorism of all shapes and forms and colors.
But what about the terrorism of the Lashkar-e-Toiba? What about the terrorism of the Jaish-e-Mohammed? What about the terrorism that killed 27 people in Pahalgam, Victor? Don't be a hypocrite. You're nailed today.
The loudness of your voice doesn't not mean you are reasonable.
Well, what do you feel about the Lashkar-e-Toiba?
Calm down as a nation.
Why are you? I'm very calm, yaar. I'm very calm. Why have you blocked the UN Security Council resolution on the Lashkar-e-Toiba? Why have you blocked the UN Security Council resolution on Lashkar-e-Toiba? Are they aligned to you? Aren't you ashamed that you're supporting terrorist groups openly nowadays? Is this what China exists as a country to do? You want to support terrorism.
China as a sovereign country has full right to decide whatever it wants to decide. And you just listen.
Yeah, so
you have no reason
GD Bakshi
nation.
Anyway.
Victor Gao, the Chinese are a very pragmatic people. May I, in all sincerity, advise that it would be in your interest to make an outreach to the people of Baluchistan.
Yes,
and
well said.
Safeguard your investment. You must safeguard your massive investments that you have made in the region. You see, and to safeguard your interests, it would be better for you to also make an outreach to the Baluch people who ultimately own the resources of Baluchistan. They have unfortunately been treated like a colony, exploited, their minerals taken away, their gas taken away, sold. Not a penny has been given to them. No development has been done. Your people are there in Baluchistan. How much development have you seen there? Any development worth the name? People are picked up Gao from the streets. They're tortured and then dropped from helicopters in their home villages and towns, their bodies.
Very bad.
How long can this
Victor,
go on?
please change your ways. I'm telling you, it's good for China. We can work together in the long term in our mutual interest then.
Thank you for mentioning it. But China will respect Pakistan as any other member of the United Nations, respecting its full sovereignty.
Yeah,
and
but you know, you are becoming,
No,
you are being used by the Pakistanis. You are being used by the Pakistanis. You are not going to end up very badly, Victor. On this, I disagree with you. Please support the free people of Baluchistan. I wish we could have worked together. I thank you very much.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप